Hello, everyone, and welcome to Royals at the Ranch, episode 13. This is part 2 from last week. It seemed like everyone was really interested in learning more about what happened on September 5th when Amunet decided to spend about an hour or so out of her enclosure by choice. So this footage that you're going to see is from September 5th. It's just the second half of the footage that I got from her little adventure. And this is part 2 of A Night in the Life of Amunet. And if you didn't see part 1, go back and watch that because I explain who Amunet is. And if you haven't been following the Royals at the Ranch episodes, she is one of our first 2 Royals that ever joined our family here at the ranch. And so all of her vital statistics and everything about her was in last week's video. And then, of course, it's been in previous episodes as well. In this episode, we're going to talk a little bit more about habituation to touch and handling. We're going to talk more about passively habituating her to novel items. And then new in this episode, and this is what I think people were really interested in hearing about, we're going to talk about picking up your snake and how to do that in the most non-threatening manner possible. We're going to talk about touching and handling the snake and when we know it's okay to keep going and when maybe we need to back off. And then we're going to talk about how we know when it's time to put the snakes away. All right, you might be wondering, where was the moon while Amunet was out? So I thought I would mention a little bit about him because Amun and Amunet were our first 2 Royals at the ranch, and they got here at the exact same time, although they were produced by different breeders, and I got them from 2 completely different places. They both arrived on March 24th, 2020. And Amun is the male Python Regis. He's a piebald banana, and he was hatched on November 2nd, 2019. So he's just a couple of months younger than Amunet. And this is his enclosure. So this video shows basically him in the middle of his nightly routine. So what he does is he spends all day in that black hide. And then when evening arrives, he makes his way through this tunnel over to this cave or up onto that branch. Well, I interrupted that process because Amunet came out and I was wandering around the room. I had the camera and tripod set up. I was moving around. There was a lot of commotion. Amunet was moving around. And so on September 5th, he stayed in that tube the whole time and watched what was going on. And he didn't come over to his branch and his cave until after we were all finished. When they're out like this on their own, it is always a good time to practice a little bit of touching and a little bit of handling. I usually leave them be most of the time, but then occasionally, and it's usually when they are headed in a direction where I don't want them to be, then that's when I'll touch them a little bit. And it's always best to handle them from the middle and from underneath. That way, they're not as scared or startled as if you come at their face or their tail. Because if you think about their existence in the wild, they encounter the prey that they eat and any prey that they come into conflict with, usually at their head. And then if they are trying to get away from something that's chasing them, their tail is usually what's going to get grabbed. And then if they're a snake that is typically preyed upon by birds, or anything else from up high, they're going to be very uncomfortable with you coming at them from above. And so when I initiate touch or handling when they're out, I just make sure that it's at their middle, and I make sure that I'm coming from underneath and not from above, and that I'm not coming right at their head or right at their tail. And then usually from here, I kind of let them decide what they're going to do. If they want to crawl up my arm, if they want to keep going in the direction that they're going, that is completely up to them. But notice that my hand's open and relaxed, and I'm not restraining her. I'm just doing this to get her used to touch and used to me picking her up a little bit. And you can do this more and more. You just need to watch their body language and make sure that they continue to be comfortable and relaxed with what you're doing. And that's going to tell you if you can continue or not. If they become anxious, distressed, if they start displaying signs of FAS or fear, anxiety, and distress, you want to back off. You want to stop handling. And then when they're relaxed again, you want to reinitiate the touch or the handling. If they were exhibiting escape and avoidance behavior, you would want to back off. You want to build trust with them, and you don't want your actions to cause fear, anxiety, and distress. And so this is how I usually start doing choice-based handling, is once they've come out on their own, I'll touch them intermittently while they're out. I'll pick them up intermittently while they're out. And the length of time that I spend touching them or holding them all depends on their body language. If they're comfortable and relaxed, then there's really no time limit, but you don't want to overdo it. If they're not comfortable and relaxed, you want to just do it for a few seconds and back off until you can work up to longer and longer periods of time where they are comfortable and relaxed being handled and touched. Again, it's a great time to put any items out that you want them to get used to. And this way you're not approaching them with these items and you're not forcing these items on them. They are getting habituated to these items on their own and through their own choice. In fact, I find lots of them use the snake hook to hold on to. If there's nothing else, like that right now on this day bed, there aren't any perches or branches or rocks for her to hold on to. So she's been utilizing this box and the snake hook as anchors. And so she's associating these things with something that has positive valence and not something scary that she's to be afraid of. She's not building any negative or bad associations with this equipment or with me right now. And that's what you want when you do these choice-based handling sessions. You want for them to have chosen to come out of the enclosure on their own, and then you just want to interact with them intermittently while they're out exploring and doing their thing. If you see that they're going into a dangerous area, then obviously you want to redirect them or pick them up and move them. And if you notice their body language change where they're starting to exhibit fear, anxiety, or distress, then you want to take away whatever is triggering that, or you want to put them back someplace where they feel safe, which may be their habitat. Now we join Amunet in the middle of her session. It was a voluntary session on her part, and then I decided to make it into an informal training session and habituation to novel objects and handling session. One other thing that I do want to point out, I realize that sometimes they get on surfaces that make it difficult for you to slide your hand underneath them between their belly and whatever surface it is that they're gripping onto. So what you can do, well, hi there. And here she's interacting with the latex gloves, which is great. So that if I ever have to wear them or she goes to the vet and people are wearing them, it's nothing that should cause her any anxiety. It's nothing that should faze her because she's used to them here. She's interacting with them of her own choice. She knows what they smell like. She knows what they feel like on her body, and it shouldn't be any big deal. So as I was saying before, I realized that sometimes they may be on a surface that makes it difficult for you to slide your hand between their belly and the surface that they're on. And so what I recommend in those cases, to avoid totally lifting them from above, is that you just take your thumb first and initiate that touch, and then come over the top with the rest of your hand. And I didn't follow through with picking her up because she approached me and she's climbing over my wrist. And so that's really a positive thing. And I don't want to interfere with that learning experience. So clearly she wasn't afraid of my smell or my skin or of my arm at all. And I don't want to do anything to make her afraid of me. And so instead of showing you what I was just about to show you, I just let her keep going. And I'm going to move my arm away now that she's pretty much off of me. And she's headed straight for me. I'm not sure why. But I want to go over what I started to go over before, was that if you do need to pick them up and you can't get your hand underneath them, start by just touching with your thumb on the side. And then once you've made contact with your thumb and you see that they're not afraid and they're not reacting to that, then you can go ahead and grab over the top and pick them up with the rest of your hand. But touching near the bottom and the side with that thumb first gives them an opportunity to realize that you're there. And then pausing gives them an opportunity to realize that nothing bad's going to happen. And it gives you the chance to gauge their reaction before you go ahead and put the rest of your hand around them to pick them up. And this room that she's in is one of the snake rooms that is safe for the snakes to be loose in unattended if I shut the door. And it's got all sorts of different safe furnishings in here. It's got all sorts of different textures in here for them to investigate, even if I'm not in the room. And there's an exercise tent in here and just various things. So they can be in this room safely with the door shut, even if I'm not watching them. And that's for snakes that are medium sized, not baby snakes, not tiny snakes, not skinny snakes. I'm talking mainly my pythons that are juveniles and adults. Understand that I'm showing you techniques for a snake that you're just getting to know or who's just getting to know you. Once your snake is comfortable and relaxed with you, obviously you don't have to be this careful. Once you have a snake that's very used to you and that you've worked with a lot on this type of stuff, then clearly it should be okay just to go and pick them up as long as they are awake and active and see that you're coming. You still want to watch their body language though and make sure that for some reason they're not anxious or upset or distressed by you picking them up. Amunet's been out a while now, probably about an hour, which for her is a really long time. And we've had some really good choice-based handling activities, and she's had some passive habituation activities. And if you will notice now, she's under my sweater. And usually when I see them start to slow down and find spots to hide, that's when I decide for them that it's probably a good idea for them to go back into their enclosures, that they've probably had enough. And we want to end the session on a positive note. We want to make sure that she ends this session not having had any bad experiences and that she associates this experience with things that she would like to participate in again. And so I'm going to go ahead now and put her back in her enclosure. What are you doing, silly? You're trying to get in my jacket? So that tells me that you're probably ready to go home, that you've probably had enough. And so I'm just putting her near her enclosure. And if I'm wrong and she doesn't want to go back in, then she won't go back in. That's why I'm not sticking her back in there. I'm putting her near the opening to show her where her containment pin is. and then she has the option to go in or not. But based on her behavior change and her body language and the fact that she was starting to find a spot to slow down and hide, I figured that it was time for her to go back in. You don't want to overdo these sessions, and sometimes you may only have them out for a minute or two or just a few minutes. Sometimes they might be out all day. I have a few extremely outgoing and bold snakes that would literally stay out all the time. And then I have others that, you know, a few minutes is enough, or like she was out about an hour, and that's definitely enough for her. She isn't one that comes out very often, and this was a big step for her to stay out for this long and do that many things. So I cleaned her enclosure while she was out, and this is what it looks like these days. She has that ceramic cave. She has a big cardboard tube. She's got a humid hide back there in the back. She's got 2 PVC perches. She has a big branch. She has a Mag Naturals ledge in here, which I'm not sure you can see because of how dark it is. And then over here, she has a water dish, a big water bowl that she could get in if she wanted to, and it's sitting on top of a Reptile Basics black plastic hide. And half of her substrate is aspen, and half of her substrate is Repti chip. And that's her enclosure right now. I hope that you all enjoyed that as much as I did. The Royals in Your Home segment is one of my favorite pieces to put together. I really enjoy seeing everyone's royal pythons and how they interact in the individual homes and with individual family members, and all of their great training and enrichment activities that you guys are doing with them. That's wonderful. I want you to put in the comments what you would like to see next week. Do you want me to return to that standard episode format where we continue to talk about our first 2 royals at the ranch, Amunet and Amunet, continue their story and learn the results of the habitat study, and then have one of our special segments like a training talk, words of welfare, or a behavior break, and then of course we will have our Royals in the Home segment? Or do you want me to feature a royal? And that would be an episode featuring like the arrival, the unboxing, quarantine, or some specific event in the life of one of our royals, because I have been collecting videos and photos of all of our individual royal pythons pretty much since each one arrived. So comment and let me know what you want to see next. Just as a reminder, these are some of the references in regards to behavior science, welfare science, and animal training that I regularly refer to and I highly recommend. So if you want to check these out, they're available to the public. Most of them are books, and the Fear Free Pets is a website. If you have questions that you want me to answer, please contact me via my website at BehaviorEducation.org. You can email me at BehaviorEducationLLC@gmail.com. You can message me on Facebook or Instagram. You can also just comment right here on YouTube, or I'm also on LinkedIn and Twitter. Thank you so much for watching and for your continued interest in snake training and behavior, in animal training and behavior, and in welfare science in general. And until next time, everybody, please remember to always be kind and love your animals.